Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I am Koala and this is my little nook in this end of the universe that we call YouTube. I am a shamanic practitioner, mainly within the Nordic shamanism, but I'm also initiated into Nustakarpa and the Munaki rites. So, in this series I share about my spiritual journey as a trans man and with great focus on the steps that I've taken both physically and spiritually, and I try to keep the perspective on the spiritual practices and the manifestations of that. So it's my mind deciding first, then going the spiritual path to accomplish something, and then taking a step. But our journeys through life isn't just one or the other, and it's not one thing happens and then the next and then the third. Everything is intertwined, everything comes together as it should be, and it can feel messy, it can feel like everything's happening at once and then nothing. And so kind of the thread I'm trying to keep, the track I'm trying to keep myself on during these videos are the timeline. And in this video we have reached the spring equinox of 2023. So by the spring equinox of 2023 I set some intentions for myself. I set some intentions for everything that I wanted and everything that I needed. And remember, I had already sent out that referral letter, so I knew I was in the on the waiting list for gender affirming care. I also knew that the waiting list was very long and the waiting period was very long, and it's so long in fact that I still haven't gotten my first appointment. And yeah, it's been in a week, I think it's been 3 years. So I knew by this point that there were some things that I could do myself, there were some things I couldn't do myself, and I felt like I had sorted a little bit of this out. Not everything, but I had found some things to focus on, and I knew that what I really needed and wanted was top surgery. That's the one thing that I knew that was really my top priority for my own mental health and for my own health overall. And so that's one of the intentions I set by the spring equinox. I also set some other intentions for other parts of life that I will not be talking about in this video. But the spring equinox for me is the time of year where I really set my big intentions, the intentions that I know is going to take a while to fulfill, that is not going to happen overnight. So I set those intentions in ceremony, and then a few days later I held a ceremony to really manifest this. And the ceremony that I held was a mirror ceremony. So that's the first thing I'm gonna dive a little bit into this video. And I think I've touched upon it earlier in this series as well. So I'm gonna call this the mirror ritual, even though there's a lot of R's in those words, and it's a bit hard to say for a non-native English speaker. But yeah, so basically the mirror ritual, because the ritual for me is something that is reoccurring, and the ceremony is something that you hold, that can hold several rituals or a celebration of a sort. And this was something I did with a very clear intention set, and it was the same. And I did this for 7 days. So the basics of the mirror ritual is that you sit in front of a mirror, and this is very brief. This is just a briefing of it and the basics of it. And if you wanna join me in this ceremony sometimes, or in this ritual anytime in the future, I will be open to it from October onward via Zoom for you that are English speakers and non-Swedish residents or non-Stockholm residents. So the basics and the briefing of the mirror ritual. You need a mirror. You need quite a big sized mirror, but not a full sized. I used this one that is up there, and I have something hanging on it, so that's not a part of the mirror. So you need a good sized mirror. And when I did this, I sat on the floor and I had the mirror in front of me. I feel like that's the best way. And when I've guided other people in this, I have also, or in different mirror rituals or ceremonial work, etc. When we worked with mirrors, we always sat on the floor and then had the mirror in front of us. So then you need a candle and you need darkness. So you're sitting in the darkness with only one candle lit, and the candle is supposed to be on your left side. And so the candle is gonna reflect in the mirror, and it's gonna light up you. So it's gonna light up your face, and that's the only thing you need to see. So you go into this focusing on your intention. So what I wanted was to I wanted to manifest with this ritual my top surgery, and I wanted a clear image of me with the chest that I wanted and the body that I wanted, and you know, the result. So instead of focusing on all the small steps towards whatever you want to accomplish, because that's that might not happen the way you want it to happen. Nothing in life really happens the way we want it to happen, and if it does, it might not stick, you know, because oftentimes the universe has other plans for you, and you know, there are so many things that you're supposed to go through life doing, meeting, happening. So anyway, with this ritual, we really go into the dream time, and we focus on the result we want instead of the way to get there. Because I remember once, I don't remember what course I took or in what context this was, but someone told me that if you set your intentions on the journey to get somewhere, you will always be on your way there. You will never be there. So it's important to really be able to visualize and focus on what you want to accomplish and where you want to be. So the result and not the journey. The journey is something that you should enjoy, and you should absolutely stop at times and just enjoy the journey, but not focus on it, not focus your intentions on it. So you focus on the result. So this mirror ritual really helps with that. This means that even if your seeing sense of your intuitive senses aren't that strong, you can still get help visualize what you want. So you're sitting there with, I was sitting there with my mirror in a completely dark room. And in Sweden that means that this needs to be in the evening. So I wanted this to be done early after, like shortly after the spring equinox, because we still had darker evenings before it turned too bright. Because later in the spring and in the summer it's impossible to have completely dark rooms in the way that it's needed for this ritual. So that's why I chose to do it sooner rather than later. The optimal time, if I had set my intention with the spring equinox, which I did, the optimal time for this would have been the summer solstice, because that's when you complete your intentions that you set during the spring equinox. That wasn't an option for me because it would have been too bright, and the mirror spell wouldn't have worked, or the mirror ritual wouldn't have worked. So that's why I chose this time of year and to do it shortly after the spring equinox. And so I sat there with my mirror in front of me, dark room, lit candle, and you set your intention really, really strongly. So you close your eyes and go into a meditative state, setting your intentions very clearly. It's good to have written it down beforehand so that you have something to focus on, and you can pick that note up when you are in your meditative state. You look at that note and you formulate the intention for yourself really, really clearly. And then you look into the mirror and you look into your own eyes and you stare. You stare into your own eyes until in the mirror you see what you need to see. So this doesn't work for like, oh, I want a new home. Well, it can work actually. It has to be with about yourself. It doesn't work with other people. But like, if you want to lose weight and you want to, this can help you visualize the body that you want to achieve. So no matter why you want to lose weight, maybe you want to, I wanted to lose weight for being able to have the top surgery. I told you about that in the last video, that there were some criterias for that. It might also be so that you have you have some maybe health issues or whatever. So no matter if you why you want something, so if you focus on a new body that's maybe different than the one you have, maybe more muscles or slimmer or whatever, that's what you focus your intention on seeing in the mirror. So it's like you focus on your eyes and then you let the other part just, what's gonna happen when you look into the mirror is that everything is gonna shift really quickly. The only thing that's gonna be consistent is your eyes. And maybe at some points not even the eyes are gonna feel consistent. And that's because in the mirror you see all of the versions of yourself that you have been, that you are, and that you can be. It's like everything is coming together in that moment. Everything is kind of trying to fit into the mirror, into the literal world that you are in that moment. So what mostly feels consistent, but the only thing that will is your eyes. And then it's really important to focus on your intention. So if your intention is another body, then that's what you focus on. If your intention is to be healthier, then you can help visualize that by visualizing what would you look like, what would you feel like when you are healthier, how would it feel like to be without pain. So just focus on that intention. And if you want to live somewhere else, if you have to move or want to move to a bigger apartment or bigger house or whatever with a yard, then you focus on that intention and you keep yourself as you are in the mirror. And you focus on what you see in the periphery outside of yourself, but within the boundaries of the mirror, like within the frame, so that the background shifts from where you are. And that's why it's supposed to be dark as well. That's gonna help you focus on the one and only thing that you want to accomplish. So if you want to accomplish another setting around you because you need a new a new place to live or whatever, then that's what's gonna shift, and that's what you're waiting to shift when you look into the mirror, still focusing on your eyes. And so whatever your intention are, it can fit this mirror ritual if it is a focus on you or your surroundings surrounding you. So it is quite complicated in a way that you really need a clear intention. And when it comes to intentions, we need to remember the first thing, that not to focus on the journey to get somewhere, but to focus on the result. And I also had a client quite a while ago now that wanted to focus on this was another type of work. We worked with affirmations, and when I work with affirmations, it's a similar way because we visualize. So what we do with working with affirmations is we work with an intention, and then we visualize what that's gonna look like to find the right affirmation to get there. And I don't remember exactly her intention. I just remember that when she visualized it, she visualized herself in her home by herself. And I remember asking her, do you really want to be by yourself? And she was like, no, I just want somewhere peace and quiet. I think she wanted maybe a room that was hers because there was just people everywhere. And then I said, well, remember to keep the other people there, because you don't want to end up alone. If you focus your intention on being alone in the space, then you might end up alone, because that is what you're sending out into the universe and sending into yourself, your inner self. That's the visual that you want to manifest. And she was like, oh no, I don't want that. Well, then you have to reframe it, and you have to find some other way of visualizing this, so that you really fulfill your intention, your correct intention, and not accidentally manifest something else. So, because when you work with affirmations, you work with affirmations for a longer period of time. And with this mirror ritual, we work 7 days. So for 7 days straight, every day, preferably the same time every day for 7 days, you sit down and do this. So you sit with your mirror, with your candle, in darkness, focusing on your intention, looking into your eyes. How long are you going to look into the eyes? Yeah, you're going to look until you see what you want to see. For me, when I do this, most often it's like I'm focusing on my eyes. I see my eyes very, very bright. And then everything is just shifting. And then it kind of slows down, and some images stays longer before they go away and come back, and at one point where there's like a whole second or two with the visual that I want, that's when we close our eyes and blow out the candle and sit in the darkness with that image. That's the last thing that you see before you come back. So as soon as you see in the mirror what you want to see, what is the visualization of your intention, you blow out your candles and close your eyes, and then you come back to the here and now. So you ground yourself out of the meditative state. So you do this for 7 days straight, and the thing is that it gets easier with each day. With each day that you do this, the right image comes forward faster. So the ritual takes a shorter amount of time for each day. And then when the 7th day is up, trust. That's the hardest part of any ritual that helps you manifest something, is to trust. To trust that you have told yourself, you've told the universe that this is what I want. And you've also told the universe that I let go of how this is gonna happen. I might have had my visual, my to-do list, my 12 steps of getting into this place to this time. I'm letting all of that go. And as a continuation of this, you might even want to burn those things. To burn whatever maps you have or had to get where you wanted to go, or burn the list of to-dos and whatever. You can hold on to those, but they might hinder you in really seeing the opportunities when they come to you. So this was 2 years ago. I set this intention on the spring equinox of 2023, and I had my top surgery in March 2025. And there was a lot of things on the way that I had to work with and work to get rid of, and I was actually gonna talk about a couple of those things in this video, but I think I'm gonna leave it here. I think I'm gonna leave you with this mirror ritual, and we're gonna continue on in our next video, and then I'm going to talk about some things that I needed to let go of and how I let go of those to be able to manifest this, to really be able to receive. Because for me, what it all came down to was that I didn't think I was worthy of the life that I deserve, and there was a lot of things hindering my sense of worthiness, of feeling worthy. Yeah, so next time I will probably focus on a bit of letting go rituals that I needed to do during the summer that followed. So in the next video I'm gonna it's gonna start around a bit before the summer solstice 2023, and I'm gonna talk about the rituals and whatever that I focused on during that summer. And I just want to end with this, that I didn't stop with what all of the things that I've talked about so far before this video. The steps that I talked about in the last video, I didn't stop with those. I didn't stop working out. I didn't stop focusing on other things in my life. I do have a hard time focusing on too many things when I don't feel well, and I try to take care of myself first, even if it's hard to do that, especially when I didn't feel worthy of spending time on myself and putting myself first. And notice that I'm talking past tense when I talk about that. So yeah, I lost my train of thought, so I'm just gonna end it there and tell you to walk in beauty with yourself, and I really, really want you to feel that you are worthy of the life that you deserve. Xingling.